Welcome to turning a moment into a movement.
This little light of mine, I'm gon' let it shine. I'm gon' let it shine. This little light of mine, this little light of mine, I'm gon' let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gon' let it shine. I'm gon' let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gon' let it shine. I'm gon' let it shine. Oh Lord, just let it shine. This light of mine, this light of mine. Oh Lord, would you please just let it shine. Take the drama out of my life. Oh Lord, every night, the pain ain't right. I wake up at night, I never sleep. 26, 10, and 7, that's just me. Every day I need a little seed. I need a little fresh air, man, I need to breathe. All I know is trauma, all I know is tickets. All I know is no visit, all I know is a mission to get straight up out of prison. Lord have mercy for me. Lord have mercy on my people. Preacher Mary Washington and all my real. Lord have mercy with my people. I pray to God, we really need you. When I was down bad, when things weren't going right, every time I prayed at night, I put my hands up in my face. I said, Lord have mercy, little light of mine. Lord God, please let it shine. It's the drama that I live in my life. I swear to God, I was a bad guy every night. 10 toes down, salute. Everybody suffering, everybody who trying to make a way. Everybody looking for the sky, everybody looking for that piece of pie. In a law library, I know what that feel like. Hoping that somebody get active and involved in your situation. Man, pop your collar and pray. Cause Lord have mercy on my soul. And they make bad guy father get out soon. And the rest of those brothers who be mobbing to child each morning. Oh man, I ain't going to this afternoon. Man, I'ma miss dinner today. I got a cup of noodles. Hey, you know what that feel like? Yeah, you know what it is. And if you a victim of a wrongful conviction, suffered and served by Ken Worthy, then I know that you know what that pain feel like. And your mama know what that pain feel like. Your father know what that pain feel like. With that light, let that little shine. Let that light shine a little light of mine, huh? Bad guy, Doughboy Week, all these great people in this great world of ours. 10 toes down, salute. I appreciate you, bad guy. I appreciate you, Week. I appreciate the tech. I appreciate everybody in the studio. We gonna pop off the LV, ooh-wee, cause that's what they be liking to see. But I hope you hear the missing when you see me fresh. Salute. You do good, bro?
Greetings, everyone. Thank you for joining me this evening on Turning a Moment into a Movement. I am your host, J Love, and created this platform when my son GERARD was wrongly convicted of a crime he didn't do, innocent, and he went to prison. And because of that, and all the people I met on that journey with GERARD, and all the mothers I met, and all the families I met, um, created this platform to educate our community about wrongful convictions and injustice that happens in our communities. The mission here at Turning a Moment into a Movement is was inspired by the wrongful conviction of GERARD and built from the urgent need to create a safe, empowering space for all who have been harmed by injustice. Our mission is to shine a light on wrongful convictions, over sentencing, and the neglect of those who are mentally ill and medically frail within the criminal legal system. We are committed to uplifting voices, sharing truth, and advocating for those too often silenced. Through education, community organizing, and courageous storytelling, we work to disrupt the systems, policies, and patterns that fuel injustice, transforming awareness into collective action and turning every moment into a movement for real change. Thank you for joining us. And I want to bring on Marcus. Everybody's wondering, but we're doing something different, you guys. It's going to be me and one of us instead of five of us now. But Marcus, introduce yourself and let everybody know what it is that you do. So your mic is muted, Marcus. I've been talking to Marcus, you guys, before we got on here, but somehow his mic is muted. So it's on his end. So we're going to keep moving while Marcus figure out how to unmute his mic. So tonight on Turning a Moment into a Movement, our topic is you have the right to file a complaint, and here's how. So we're talking about this season, accountability matters. And also we have to take accountability on the things that we do. And so I'm going to put Marcus off the screen so he can fix his mic. So tonight our special guest is Detroit Police Commissioner, Vice Chair, Minister, CEO of Fighting the Good Fight, LLC, is Mr. Darryl Wood Sr. I'm going to bring him on. Greetings.
Greetings, Janice is good. J Love. I love calling you Janice. You know why I love calling you Janice, but is I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here too. Just introduce yourself and tell us or everyone who's listening what it is that you do.
I do a number of things, a myriad of things, but and my the reason I'm on the show, we talking about complaints. I am on the board of police commission for the city of Detroit. I was elevated to chair and served a year as the chair. And after I finished my chairmanship up, I was elected as the vice chair. And what we do as police commissioners And the Board of Police Commission, what we do as an organization is investigate citizen complaints. So that's the bedrock of our organization. There are 4 commissioners that are appointed, and 7 are elected by district. I was appointed by the mayor of the city of Detroit. And I came in a tumultuous time where there was a severe backlog of complaints. We were understaffed and struggling budget wise. But since I've been there, I've been able to right size the ship and be able to do a lot of significant things there. And the Board of Police Commission. Another thing that we do, we're responsible for all promotions from sergeant all the way to first assistant chief. We also do national searches for the police chief when the seat is vacant. We initiate that, and we send 3 names to the mayor for consideration after we do a national search. We are responsible for all policies in the Detroit Police Department, and so it's us and the department. And if there's a impasse there, then the mayor can chime in as it relates to the policies. And so we're responsible for a great deal of things. Citizens call us for all kinds of reasons, and we're there to try to mediate matters and be able to help citizens get the answers that they're looking for. And we don't have a magical wand. We can't um, make things go away, but we have a host of investigators, which our chief investigator, Warfield, is on. He'll be joining us and be able to talk to the citizens how to participate in filing a complaint. If they need to file a complaint, he would give them clear direction on how to file a complaint and what that process look like. We are very, very sensitive to every complaint that come in, and we do our very, very best to address them accordingly.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to also add that that's why we're having this conversation with you today, to pull back on the curtain on how the complaints and the oversight process really work, and to give practical knowledge to the viewers, direct access to leaders, and confidence, and demand transparency, accountability, and respect.
Yes.
And Marcus is back. Hi, Marcus.
Hey, how y'all doing? Sorry about the technical difficulties, What's going on, brother Darryl? How you doing?
I'm fighting a good fight. How you doing, my friend?
Man, fighting a good fight, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, hello,
So,
everybody. This is Marcus Kelly, the Change Up Midnight Coalition, in the place to be.
Amen.
yes. So, as you alluded to the chief investigator, and I'm going to bring him on as well.
Yeah.
Greetings.
Well, good evening, Ms. J. Love. Thank you so very much for having me.
Yes. Can you introduce yourself and tell everyone what it is that you do?
Sure. My name is Jerome Warfield, and I currently serve as the chief investigator for the Board of Police Commissioners. I am a former Board of Police Commissioner member. I served from 2009 through 2013. I also served as chair in 2 terms during that time period as well. Served on the Michigan Parole Board for 8 years. And then after my service on the Michigan Parole Board, we came to head up this office. And as Commissioner Woods indicated, when I came here in May of 2023, the office needed significant help. We were under 4 investigations ourselves. We were deeply understaffed. And thanks to his leadership and the leadership to others on that board, we have righted the ship, and we're here to service our community in an outstanding way.
Oh, wow. So I have a question. I want to know if, let's get into filing a complaint. If a resident wants to file a complaint against an officer, what is the proper way? What is the proper process?
So let me define what type of complaint we receive. According to the Detroit City Charter, we receive allegations against officers, or against any member of the Detroit Police Department, that are non-criminal in nature. So anything that is criminal in nature, we transfer those complaints over to the Internal Affairs Department for DPD, only because the charter does not give us that authority to investigate criminal complaints. And at the same time, because of that, our investigators are not trained in how to audit criminal investigations. The second thing I want to point out is that those individuals who are filing complaints, it has to be within the calendar year of when the actual complaint happened. So let's say you want to file a complaint that happened 2 years ago. Unfortunately, we can't take that complaint. But if it happened within the last 12 months, we can certainly take that complaint. And there are several easy ways. We give you 4 easy ways to file the complaint. You can call our office, and our number is 313-596-2499. And you can give us your complaint over the phone. You can go online and file a complaint at www.detroitmi.gov/BOPC. You can do it that way. You can also fax it to us. We still have fax line at 313-596-2482. And obviously, you can go to the Board of Police Commissioners meeting that happen every Thursday at 3 o'clock, with the exception of the second Thursday of the month. That happens in the community, and that's a moving target in the community that we try and make around the city of Detroit on that second Thursday of every month. But you can go straight to our offices and file a complaint. And our office, let me just give you this while I'm here. Merrill Plaisance. That's right in Palmer Park. It's almost kitty corner from the Unity Church. So we're right in the heart of the city.
Oh, okay. Can someone file a complaint anonymously if they feel like there might be some retaliation? Is that possible?
That's a great question, Ms. Love. Absolutely. You can file the complaint anonymously. You can file the complaint on behalf of someone else. Parents can file a complaint on behalf of their minor children as well. So there are a number of modalities. I mean, someone who's your agent, let's say an attorney, can file the complaint on your behalf as well. So we receive pretty much complaints from wherever they come in for the most part. Again, our criteria is that they are non-criminal in nature, and they have received complaints against employees of the Detroit Police Department. So if it's the sheriff or if it's the state police, we can't take those complaints.
And how long does that process, the investigation process, take?
That's another excellent question. So we have 90 days to complete our investigation. A number of the investigations are able to be completed well before that 90-day framework. As Commissioner Wood alluded to earlier on the call, when a few years ago we were heavy in backlog. I mean, again, because of lack of staff of a number of reasons, we just recently have put ourselves in good position at the end. Well, actually, at the end of this week, we'll be out of all of our legacy backlog. So the only thing we're concentrating on is our 2026 cases, as well as the remainder of our 2025 cases. So we have done just a yeoman's job. We have 21 investigators that work out of this office, and they do really a great job and very thoroughly investigating cases. So we have a wonderful staff that work here.
That's good. My next question is, so what if a person feels like their complaint wasn't taken seriously and they didn't like the outcome of the investigation? Is there a pathway for them? Is something else that they can do?
Again, good question. The Detroit City Charter gives an avenue for that particular citizen to absolutely appeal their findings from our office. All they need to do is write the Board of Police Commissioners and they can set up an appeal hearing to have that particular complaint reviewed. I've had that happen where I've met with individuals to show them why our findings were what they were. And
Mm-hmm.
typically, once they see what we were able to uncover, they pretty much go along with our findings. However, if there ever becomes a time when that isn't the case, there is an avenue. We take it straight to the Board of Police Commissioners. We'll present our findings. The citizen will present theirs, and then the Board of Police Commissioners would make that final decision on which way the case should go. So they absolutely have appeal opportunities.
Okay, Marcus, do you have anything to add before I jump into something else?
I mean, I ain't gonna lie. My mind is all over the place. I was thinking, brother Warfield, that I think what's calling pause for me is if the complaint happened, you can only file a complaint. Rather, if I'm not mistaken, you said a criminal complaint within a calendar year, and after that, it's just done. The problem that I have with that I think you probably heard before is, what if someone has been criminally has been had what if an officer has done something criminally to a person, but he got locked up behind it, such as, say, beat him up or something, you know what I mean, or whatever, assaulted him, and the officer, and yet he goes to jail, serves a year or two, and then come home and then try to file a complaint. Uh, that it's like that time frame is left, so now that window is closed for him even to seek justice for that particular assault, and or a case where someone is being intimidated by an officer, and or don't even realize that they have a system set in place that they can follow through with, and then when they realize, okay, well, I could have just took this complaint to Brother Warfield or Brother Darryl, and they realize it later, but yet the door has closed for justice. But on the reverse side, if it's a regular civilian and he commits a crime, you can go 2, 3, 4 years and charge him. So it's just I mean, that's the part, and I don't even know if there's a question here. I'm just kind of in awe listening to this
Well,
right here.
brother
So I'm like,
Marcus,
that's what I talk about.
can you hear me, brother Marcus?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. But I think you misunderstood Chief Warfield. What Chief Warfield was saying is that the Board of Police Commissioners do not do any criminal complaints. All criminal complaints will go to internal affairs. And internal
Okay.
affairs deals with criminal complaints. And so if it was a crime is committed, then there would be a statute of limitation on certain crimes according to the statute, whatever that
Mm.
crime may be.
Okay.
But the Board of
Okay.
Police uh, commissioners deal with non-criminal complaints. And so the internal affairs deal with criminal complaints. So if it's something criminal in nature that will come to us, we will redirect that complaint to the proper authority. Rather
Okay.
be if it's so severe, it'll go to uh, internal affairs with the attorney general if necessary, whoever it need to be, who need to see this information, and we're uh, uh, direct the citizen to somewhere like that because we do not handle criminal complaints, and sometimes that's a confusion with the Police Commission. Now, say for instance, if someone loved one was killed and they feel that the homicide detective is not communicating with them properly, so that's what you consider a service complaint, and
Mhm.
we can investigate that and say that this citizen is not getting the service that they deserve, and then stuff like that we can deal with. Or if they cuss someone out, or they're harassing someone, or doing things that they don't supposed to be doing in that nature, then we can deal with those complaints. And Chief Warfield can give you a little bit more in terms of the typical complaint that may come in. We receive on average, I believe now, what we probably last year received over 2,500 complaints.
Yeah,
uh,
last year, yeah. I'm sorry, Commissioner.
no, go ahead, Chief.
Yeah, last year we received over 2,500 complaints. And so our complaints have gone up. So if you look at our complaint history, and I want to answer another question you had too about those who are already locked up and tell you what we do for those. Um, Between 2012 and 2022, our average number of complaints in the city of Detroit that we would receive was around 1,100, maybe 1,200. From 2023 up through last year, our average has jumped to 1,900 complaints a year. So they have significantly increased. Now, we often get mail from those who may be incarcerated, who do have complaints against the police. We still investigate those cases, again, as long as they're not criminal. So if they had a service issue, if they had an issue with the way that the officer handled them, and again, it's non-criminal, we still investigate those allegations. So please know that we still do that. And then when we look at the type of allegations that we handle, the three big areas of our allegation is demeanor, service, and procedure. That makes up about 70% of all of our allegations that come into the office. And the reason that we have that 1 year limit is primarily because of the collective bargaining units of the law enforcement in the city of Detroit. They have in their collective bargaining agreements that after 1 year, after 366 days, or on the 366th day, that no disciplinary action can come against an officer who has a complaint against them. So that's why we limit that to 1 year, because of the collective bargaining agreements that's in place.
So, Zay, I have one more question.
Go ahead.
So, so how do you stop then, or y'all got measures in place to stop any like stonewalling when it comes to that? Like, say, like the officers know what's in the collective agreement, 366 days done. So how do we? And I'm saying for somebody who was incarcerated and how they either play the grievance system in prison, that the officer get the complaint, tell the other officer, throw it away. How do you get in front of those kind of things before that happens?
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
That's a good question, Mr. Kelly. And the only thing that hinders us is if the officer is unavailable for a guarantee interview. So if that officer is, let's say, out on furlough, or if that officer is suspended, typically we cannot interview. However, we'll hold that file until they come back on board, no matter how long it takes, and we'll still move forward with the interview then. Yeah.
Okay.
And what it also does is create a record. When we Gary the office, or when the office of chief investigator Gary the officer, they're under oath, and they typically come in with a lawyer, and they do a phenomenal job. They go out to the scenes of these incidents and do what you call canvassing the scene to see if there's any parenting evidence there, and so how many investigators do we have, chief investigator?
We have 21 investigators.
Yeah.
And 3 supervisors, and then 4 administrative staff persons. But the vast majority of our office is investigators, because that's the heart of what we do.
So my question is, what power does the board have when it comes to disciplining officers or influencing investigations?
We do investigations. You talking to the chief investigator right there, and so we have a lot of power when it comes to those type of investigations. Now, when it comes to discipline, because of the collective bargain agreement, the collective bargain agreement is in conflict with the with the charter. And
Mm.
those collective bargaining agreements will be coming back up soon. I only been on the board for a little over 2.5 years, roundabout. And we had to clean up a lot of stuff. When I came, they wasn't suspending officers without pay. When before I came, they wasn't doing that. We have been able to suspend a number of officers without pay based upon wrongdoing. And I tell you this, we don't do it. We don't do it with pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hard thing when you have to investigate these cases and you see that officers may have done something that will cause us to suspend them without pay. But I wanted to be a person who is sensitive to uh, what's going on in our community, and to ensure that officers get the message that citizens need to be treated with dignity and respect.
Mm-hmm.
But I also say this too. Sometimes citizens come in, want us to beat officers over the head and things of that nature. And I tell them that we're not a police hate board, we're a police oversight board.
Right.
They don't think we should even talk to the police. You know what I'm saying? But the police is our brothers, our sisters, our cousins, our mothers. They're human beings. They are citizens as well. And they deserve dignity and respect as well. We just want to see a mutual respect take place in our community between law enforcement and the community. And so when law enforcement do wrong, we hold them accountable to the best with every power that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a painful job at times, because you hear certain things that may have happened to citizens, or you hear things that citizens have been through, uh, that is hurtful, and in some regards we don't even have the power to do anything about, because it might be a attorney general situation, it might be a prosecutor situation, and so we don't have all power, but we have some powers, and the powers that we do have, we will utilize to the best of our ability to make sure that the citizens are getting the product that they deserve, and also that the officers are being treated with dignity and respect too. It's a mutual thing.
Are you part of the um, negotiations when the unions with the unions when their contracts have to be renewed or renegotiated? Is the board a part of that?
Well, the Chief Warfield can give you some answers. I haven't gotten to the new agreement yet. But when the doors open, I'm not going to signal to you. That I tell you this, that the Border Police Commissioner voice need to be heard in that negotiation process. But Chief Warfield give you some feedback, and not only a Chief Warfield is the chief investigator, but Chief Warfield was also uh, a police commissioner at one time too, and he also served as the chairman of the Board of Police Commission for a number of years. So Chief Warfield knows this process through and through, and he's been a part of some collective bargaining agreements. We haven't had that chance yet. I look forward to it though. But go ahead, Chief Warfield.
Thank you, Commissioner. Appreciate that. So to answer your question directly, Miss Love, the answer is no. And that's pretty much set up by the collective bargaining agreements. And obviously, it's strategic, right? If I am going to protect my members of my unions, one of the things I want to do is to make sure that there are less people at the table who could hold oversight as it relates to the behaviors and the operations. So I think that's something that's being discussed and talked about. That there's a list of concerns that I know the Board of Police Commissioners have as relates to a new upcoming collective bargaining agreement. I believe those concerns will be heard at the table, but in the past, no, we really have not had that much impact on there. But I think days are changing,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they're changing in a good direction for the Board of Police Commissioners to have more impact and more say in what goes into some of those collective bargaining agreements.
I know. I am a former union member, so I understand how unions want to protect their people. However, the customer, who are the citizens who pay the salaries, should have a voice in these contracts. And I feel like that's where the oversight committee, the commissioners, come in as also a voice for the citizens when it comes to these negotiations. Because if we're just so our vision is so straightforward, and we're only looking at the employees and not looking at the customers, when these things come up or lawsuits and stuff like that, the citizens are the ones who are paying for these. So there should be a voice, commissioners to be a part of that negotiation as a voice for the citizens of the city of Detroit.
Absolutely agree with you. And so there are a couple of labor laws, national labor laws, that have to be breached, as you well know, for that to happen, as well as a change with the Detroit City Charter, in order for that to be there and to take place. So but I don't think we have to wait till the laws change before the impact of the commissioner's concerns get heard at the table. We still believe that can happen. And so the board is doing a great job in preparing itself to come to that table with some suggestions, or send to the table some suggestions that might be beneficial for the citizens of the city of Detroit, because they are the voice. I think the reason that we have not had situations like we've seen in Minnesota and in other parts of the country is simply because you've had the Board of Police Commissioners, you have the Office of the Chief Investigator that served almost as a type of release valve so that people could file complaints and get their complaints there, and they've seen the benefit of that. So being able to have a voice at that table is key and critical as well.
Mm-hmm. So what is one of the biggest misconceptions that people have about the Board of Commissioners?
That we are Jesus, and that we can walk on water. The thing is that people come with a lot of different issues, and they come in from a lot of different angles. I will have to say that there are a number of legitimate complaints, but there are some folks that come in there who want us to claim sovereignty and denounce the United States Constitution and come with all kinds of bizarre things. So bless you. And so sometimes we have to figure those things out, but we're not the police, first and foremost. Some people think we're the police, that we only investigate homicide cases, rape cases, or armed robberies and things of that nature.
Uh-oh.
So I'll finish for Commissioner, but yeah, so people come with a lot of items that are don't necessarily fall under the Board of Police Commissioners. However, they do a good job in pointing them into the right direction. And at those meetings, the chief of police or one of his designees is typically at those meetings as well, so that citizens are able to interface directly with the department if they need to get special attention for their concerns.
I can't hear.
Okay, you can't hear us?
You back. We hear you. Do you guys do some kind of educational type programs for the community to educate the community on what the commissioners do so they can have a better understanding of your jobs and how, the commission can help serve them, better and make your life and jobs a little bit easier?
The great thing about Yeah, the great thing about our bifurcated system, some elected and some appointed, is that you have a number of commissioners, seven of them again are elected, who have direct ties in their communities. And that crosses all seven council districts that's in the city of Detroit. So they regularly have meetings with the public to talk
Mhm.
about citizens' rights, to talk about, you know, what their rights are when they're pulled over by the police, to make sure that there are certain things that happen, and if they are at any way uneasy or feel like their rights have been violated, and then of course they can come to us, and we will definitely handle their case with care. So our commissioners do a great job, especially this new set. They are tremendous out there in the community, meeting with people every single week, raising the banner of citizen rights. So they do a great job at that. So yes, to your question.
Also, I think this would be a good thing to reach out to, like in the schools, like the Detroit Public Schools, so the younger new drivers and the younger teenagers can understand. Even middle school probably can really understand what it is, because I know with the police, there's always people feel some kind of way because of all the things that's happening, you know. And so, um, I'm Marcus. So I'm just saying, with if you want to build a relationship, better relationship with the community, I think starting with the children, especially in middle schools and high schools, would be a good place to start with educating them about what their rights are and how, you know, to make a complaint and things like that.
That's an excellent point, Jay Love. We have a youth advisory council
Okay.
that is very powerful, and they are very these this advisory council, youth advisory council, are very sophisticated. And uh, last year, for the first time, I want to do something significant for the members of the Youth Advisory Council that's going to college and all of that. And so I got with Chief Warfield and I got with our board chairwoman and gave all other commissioners the opportunity to contribute. And we was able to bless one of the youngsters with $1,000 scholarship for college, you know, and we plan on doing it again this year to make sure. And that came out of our own pocket, you know, and we planning on investing in our children again as well. I'm often in schools a lot, you know, talking to a number of our students, elementary schools, junior high schools, spreading the word to the young folks. Actually, uh, partnership with DPD in Persian is about to be birthed, where they have a law enforcement class at Persian High School now. Principal Tipton is a very innovative guy, but they about to teach the children how to run the 911 operating system, you know, and train them as apprentice. And I thought that was something phenomenal. And so things like that, we want to continue to spread. And if you find that the chief investigator need to go into a particular school, him or any of the staff members or any other commissioners, you know, reach out, and we will run to any community space to spread the word and educate people how to do this. We just got a dashboard put in place, and it's a work in progress, and we building on that. Under my chairmanship, I wanted transparency to happen even more, and so I told the chief of investigator, let's work and put out a dashboard, and that dashboard has been put in place, and we're building upon it. And so we want to do everything that we can to get the word to the community. As you heard, chief investigator told you they went from uh, I think 1,900 investigations, or maybe 1,000 and some investigations, to over 2,500 investigations, or people filing it for, or complaints rather. You know, that's huge. That is absolutely huge. That people are hearing about uh, how they can file complaints. That has increased, and so we want to continue to do that.
So yeah, but you know, that's a two-way thing, you know, more complaints So is something really going on to feed these complaints, or just people are just really understanding the process?
Praise the Lord. That's a good question. But the fact of the matter is that they understanding that they have the opportunity, and a lot of them are legitimate complaints, but some of these things can be mediated, and that's what we're working on more to bring the complainant in and the officer in, and have a restorative circle if possible, whenever possible,
Mhm.
just so that officers can hear and understand how their actions may be impacting members in the community, and citizens have the opportunity to be heard, but also to hear the perspective from the officer. And sometimes they come out of that space, feeling whole. Because most of the time citizens just really want to be respected. What citizens want to, at all times, citizens want to feel respected, and they also want to be felt. They want to be heard. You know,
Mhm.
and sometimes it's not a complaint. You know, sometimes it is a complaint. And so that mediation process and those restorative circles have been very powerful. I've participated in several of them, and so that's another tool. And sometimes when we have that, it's the citizens coming in, really training the officers sometimes on better ways to approach people in the community. It
Mhm.
could be cultural issues. It could be, a person who may be from a certain community, and have not had experience with people in the city of Detroit, and they need to be educated, and they need to learn and be sensitive how to conduct themselves with residents in particular neighborhoods.
Right.
I,
This reminded me of a conversation I had with one of the former police commissioners. He was saying how he was talking to an officer, and he was asking her why she drives so far to come to Detroit to, be a police officer, like all the cities that she drive past. And her answer was, I want to be where the action is. And I thought that was, the action. What is
That's
that?
well,
You breaking your biases.
you got some officers who live in the city of Detroit that had that attitude too. So some people come on the force for particular reasons. You know, um, however, you know, them being engaged and being having interactions with the citizens is
Hmm.
helpful. That's why I love citizen academies. I love citizen input. I love citizens' voices at the table, because the fact of the matter is the department is what it is.
Yeah.
The numbers reflects what they reflect. Anybody can apply for being a police officer as long as they fit the criteria, you
Hmm.
know. And so I have seen a number of. I was just at the graduation for DPD yesterday, and I have been seeing the engagement through our uh, uh, personnel director, them going into the community even more in the city of Detroit. And so I've been seeing a lot of more diversity at these graduations. And but sometimes just because you may have an African American officer, that don't mean that African American officer may have the
Take
sensitivity
racial
either.
there we go.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
I'm just listening to that, right? And I think you made a good point, Darryl. I mean, honestly, I think with the board, I think that's a start, because we talking about systems and systems that been put in place that we have to really break down before we can even get to a space that represents humanity in people, right? Because we coming from, and I say that because I'm actually getting educated right now about the board, right? And I didn't know these things until tonight. but I can honestly say in my community where I'm from, we have a hit. My first time getting beat up by police, I was 9 years old. I take it back. I was 11. I was 11
Wow.
years old, and every time I seen cops, they was whooping somebody's ass. So it was like that is the climate that I grew up in. So I grew up scared of police,
Mm-hmm.
and you know. But then when we think about how do we change these systems, right? And then you look at the history of the actual what police derive from. We talking about the 1850s Fugitive Slave Act morphed into they called it law and order then now they call it public health and safety. But we still have, the problem ain't the individual, the problem is the system.
Yeah.
And we have and until we break the system and recreate that system, it don't matter what color person you put as a police officer, whether it's black, white, or candy stripe. We had the Tyree Nichols case in Tennessee. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's like when you get into that system, then a person get in a position of power, and which means they have a power to be exactly who they are, right? And no amount of resumes is going to tell you a guy's morals, moral compass.
Right.
So, um, so that is one of the reasons why I advocate to get slavery out of Michigan's constitution, so that we can reimagine public health and safety that's rooted in care, dignity, and respect for all human beings. And I say that to land my plane here. You know what I'm saying? We have now it went from police to ICE terrorizing our community now, right? So when people see ICE, they still think police. So now the abuses and things that our community have been suffering at the behold of police, it's been hiding now, because now we have someone. It was already hard to hold a police officer accountable the way it is. You know what I'm saying? And you just kind of described something similar to that, Brother Warfield. I believe you gave me a parole back in the day too. I don't know. I'm just
He did. He did.
yeah. So I'm like, you gave me my first parole. I kept getting flopped and flopped, and you came on. I got a parole, but that's another story. So I'm like, oh, listen at him like this. The brother they let me go home.
That's him.
So I got a different kind of respect for you right now, brother. So they ain't gonna let me go. So but going back and landing my plane is like we in a space. Having this board is the beginning. It's like a nugget. It's like a drop in the ocean, a pebble in the ocean, a small ripple effect. But and you talking to somebody who's an abolitionist. I don't believe in state systems of punishment the way it is now. You know what I'm saying? The way it's designed, because we know it was all designed for. However, as an advocate to remove slavery out of Michigan's constitution, I just believe that it's hard to reform a system whose genesis was never meant to restore anyone. Same thing when we talk about rehabilitation. You can't rehabilitate someone who has never been habilitated in the first place. But the word is sexy. And when we spend in Pontiac, we spend 52% of our budget on juvenile home, jail, and police, and not much on, being proactive. You know what I'm saying? So we spend 52% of our budget being reactionary when the real problem is resources. So when I come to this, I think what you guys are doing on the board, what you're building right now, I can see the vision. You know what I'm saying? But I also know that change ain't gonna happen overnight. You know what I'm saying? It's a process. It's going to be 10, 20 years. This system has been in place for decades. And our police officers are not social workers. You know what I'm saying? They are not, CPS people. They are not those things. They're designed to capture, isolate, and incarcerate. And then when you come in our neighborhoods, kill too, if you have to.
Yeah,
And certain
let me say this, Mike. They don't supposed to be so. Marcus, I'm sorry, Marcus, my man. hey, I'm a little tired too now. Marcus, the they don't supposed to be social workers. They don't supposed to be CPS folks. But if you see what we have saw in terms of some of the work that these officers are doing, to impact the lives of citizens in a positive way. Sometimes we see the bad stuff. We see all the bad stuff, but there's a ton of good stuff that these officers are doing. I've seen some stuff that would bring tears to your eyes in terms of what these officers have to respond to. Just imagine the three elderly men that was found dead in their home and what that crime scene looked like. Going in there, seeing them beat to death, you know, going in, digging a child out of a backyard, out of the out of a grave that was created by the mom allegedly, because that case is still going on, and but I've seen a number of officers do some tremendous things, and which it goes back to what you're saying though, Marcus, about changing the system.
Mhm.
Now we have social workers riding with officers because we challenge the department when people have knives and or rakes or things of that nature, or instruments that they shouldn't just be rushing in with force, but having a calming voice with them to being able to talk them down off the ledge and give that therapeutic approach when you can. And so there's been a number of times now that has changed because of advocacy from people like Marcus and Janice, J Love, and so many others who challenge this system to be better. And what we have now also is citizens. When we do policy, we call in citizens. We didn't call in the ACLU, the University of Michigan Civil Rights class, the NAACP, and other groups to come in to be able to help us shape policy and come to the table. And because policy is one of the ways to be able to keep officers held accountable, and the department held accountable. So you make some very, very strong points. I know you said it, they are not social workers, but they'll tell you something different based
Mhm.
upon the thousands and thousands and thousands, the tens of thousands of calls that they respond to every single year. It's a lot.
I'm sure. And I'm sure, I mean, even the scenes that you described, Darryl, has to be horrific on your mindset too,
There you go.
going into seeing all of this stuff. And so is there a space for that? Is there a space for to make sure when they have these horrific crime scenes? Because I know what you just described at I was listening to it on the news. It sounds horrific about the three men in the. Is there some kind of space for those particular officers who have to have those experiences, you know, um, so they won't be carrying that and then, what I'm saying, interact other ways, some proactive measures for them as well.
Absolutely. That's one of the things I have been strongly advocating for officers to have mental health support, because it's good for them, but it's also good for citizens. I think
Hmm.
that if they are involved in some type of interaction with some where they have to use force or whatever, that they should get some mental health support, especially if it was justified or whatever, you know. And when they go to these crime scenes, they should have a therapist or mental health support to be able to help. So they have something called peer support, and they building upon it more. And even some officers need substance abuse assistance, when it comes to alcohol and maybe some drugs, because again, they are no different than you and I and our
Right.
families. Sometimes they use as a coping mechanism, maybe alcohol or drugs, and that they need some support and help in that area as well.
Hmm.
So my thing is to make sure that they get all the therapeutic assistance that they can so that they could be able to heal and be able to do a job that is going to be helpful to the citizens of the city of Detroit.
Hmm. So I have a question. If for both of you actually, if there was one policy or one thing that you could change to make oversight, make your job easier, make oversight to help the citizens, be more comfortable in doing the jobs you're doing, what would it be?
I'll go. I'll do it from two different areas. I'll do it from the board's perspective and from the perspective here. The one thing that the city of Detroit did when Comey Young proposed the Board of Police Commissioners, which is the first independent oversight police board in the entire country that was able to have subpoena power as well as hire the human resources director for the department, and to instill this independent office of the Office of the Chief Investigator, and be able to help create and develop policies. The one thing I would add to that is that the Board of Police Commissioners should also hire the budget director for the department, because as you know, where the money is really where the power is, right? And I've advocated, even when I was back on the board, that that's one of the charter changes that I believe should happen, that budget director and the HR director should both be hired by the Board of Police Commissioners. And I think you'll see a change in dynamics there as relates to where the money goes and a more service-oriented approach to policing. As relates to my office in particular, we are blessed, we really are, to have the type of leeway that we have right now. And so I'm not going to increase our wish list no matter what it is, because I think we do an excellent job where we are. We're fully staffed, thank God. Again, and a large part to Commissioner Woods and those who were on the board with him back then. But Commissioner Wood led the effort for us to become fully staffed so that we can take care of the citizens' business. So we are doing very well right now. But I think from a Board of Police Commissioner standpoint, being able to hire the budget director for the department would make a tremendous difference, and an independent lawyer for the Board of Police Commissioners. They need their own independent lawyer.
Okay. Darryl?
Yep, I share those same sentiments, and some of those things we're looking to change soon. And I want to indicate, I want to forecast some things publicly, But I'm a strategic thinker. But one of the policies that I would change, which is in the charter, that we should have the ability to fire officers. You know, it's in the charter, says that we should have that. Collective bargaining agreement took it away from us, and I think that should be restored. And I believe that commissioners would do that in a measured way, in a fair and equitable way. You know, this ain't a I got you type situation. These are real life situations, and we know how to deal with these issues soberly. You know, and don't no one have no vendettas to take out on no one. you know. And then, so I'll say that.
Um, with the social media, this age of social media, especially, you see a lot of what I seen. I even had tagged you, Darryl, in one case where I saw something online, but people postings, interactions with officers, and then you get a whole comment section of people say, "Hey, that happened to me," and "Hey, that person did me the same way," blah blah blah. And so that was one of the reasons why today I wanted to have this conversation with you, Darryl, because just recently that happened, and I'm like, people really need a way to understand that. Okay, that's you recorded it, but I think, if you're not putting it on paper, if you're not making it official, it's just on Instagram or it's just on Facebook. And so that's what really motivated this conversation today, because I wanted to educate our community about, that you do have power and that you can make a complaint and your complaint will be heard. And, this is not the same commission as it was, years ago, or, a few years ago. This is a different kind of operation. So, can you give the people who may watch this later some kind of assurance of the process, and that, you guys are looking into these complaints when they're non-criminal, and that there is also a pathway for, if it is criminal, that you can take it as
Yeah,
well.
I want citizens to be assured that this is a sacred process for us. We will protect them with every ounce of our being, should they want to file a complaint, and because an officer has done some wrongdoing to them. And we will protect the whole process. It's an integral process. Our investigators investigate them, and then they are sent to us to review and to sign off on. So each week, commissioners get binders or folders full of citizen complaints that has been investigated, and we review each and every last one of them, and we sign off on them if we feel comfortable with that, or we may have some questions. You know, I tell you that there's been some situations where I had to get on the telephone and say, "Hey, I need an immediate response." I've called the chief, the assistant chief, the deputy chief, the commander of the precinct, and said, "You need to deal with this situation immediately," because it looked like they needed immediate redress on certain situations. You know, and the chief would tell you that I will question some of these things when I don't see uh, that the citizen has gotten everything that we possibly can give them. Because we want, and he said we got a quality and control person in OCI. The chief have to sign off on them. As far as when I say the chief, I'm talking about Chief Warfield, the chief investigator. And so all it is it's a process, and it has a lot of eyes on it, and we want to try to get it right. And so uh, I'm open to citizens calling me. They call me all the time, but just make sure that you succinct on your complaint. And I call Warfield. I call Chief Warfield all the time with a citizen on the phone and say, "Hey, this citizen has an issue with X, Y, and Z." So we are very sensitive to the citizens of the city of Detroit, that they get the service that they deserve. So I tell you that, and all of us has taken an oath to serve the citizens of the city of Detroit. We are sworn an oath to do that. All the investigators and every commissioner, and our oath is to be able to make sure that we serve the citizens of the city of Detroit.
Mhm.
And the investigations that we conduct could potentially end up in court. So every investigator is trained thoroughly on how to investigate in a very thorough manner the cases that come before them. And as Commissioner Woods has said, there are a number of checkoffs, there are a number of reviews that happens to make sure that everything is crystal clear. And I am so appreciative of his effort and his relationships, because there are times when we see cases that are extremely egregious that we would call the chief, and we would say, "Look, you might want to look at this case because this officer may need to come out of service now before we even finish our investigation." That's just how serious we take this. So the citizens can be assured that when they file a complaint in our office of a non-criminal nature, that it gets our full attention. And again, they can do that by going online at www.detroitmi.gov/BOPC, Board of Police Commissioners, BOPC. They can call our number, 313-596-2727. 2499. They can even still fax us at 596-2482. And of course, they can always come to our office here at Merrill Plaisance, 900 Merrill Plaisance, right in the heart of Palmer Park. And they can go to the Board of Police Commissioners meeting that's held every Thursday in the public safety headquarters, again, with the exception of the second Thursday of the month. But we take our investigations extremely serious.
Yes. I'm so glad I had this conversation with you guys tonight. I feel better. Even though, this is a space, that was created based off of wrongful convictions. And so that's where we're coming from. But we also know that everybody is not, every police officer is not that kind of police officer, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we also want to give space for people to, wherever they have an issue, they'll know where to go, follow the process. Because we have to, be more accountable ourselves if we want other people to be accountable. So I'm glad that we had this conversation. Marcus, do you have anything to add?
Again, I just want to uplift, man. I just want to thank Brother Warfield. I ain't lying. They would not go they kept flopping me, man. This brother, come on, I go home that same. I'm like, I went home like not less than 90 days too. I was so happy. Thanks again, brother. And Brother Darryl, I owe you a phone call, brother.
Yes, sir.
I really appreciate y'all, because y'all really just schooled me tonight. I didn't even know a board even existed. But just knowing that, just how y'all broke it all down to me, I think those are seeds to begin that process of transformation when we talk about destroying old systems that was just strictly about punishment, but also rebuilding a system that's rooted in care, respect, and dignity. You know what I mean? So I think I really appreciate y'all breaking that down to me. But I'm like, okay.
Accountability matters, especially when it's the citizens and the police,
So
So
let everybody know that it's processes that you actually can get seek justice, or just it's somebody you can talk to. I mean, I think when you don't know who to bring those issues to, it puts people in the place of hopelessness. You know what I'm saying? And I just think that's that's actually I'm actually excited to hear that it is a process and that you guys are on it like that.
Absolutely. And again, we appreciate you guys for this platform to be able to spread the word out, because that's what we want to continue to spread the word, that there is a process and there's a dignified process. And we have to give a shout out during this Black History Month to Coleman Alexander Young, who gave birth to the Board of Police Commission in 1974. And so when he first came in office, he came in with his sleeves rolled up and created his board. And it's the most powerful board in the country. If you look at NACO, no board around the country has the powers that like the city of Detroit have in terms of with his Board of Police Commission. And so we are the envy of the country, and we want to get better, and so thank you guys for shining a light on something that Coleman Alexander Young birthed.
Yes. And also, Gerald, I want to say this. I want to give you some kudos too, because you be getting beat up out here in these streets.
Tell them thank you. I tell you this, I love everybody. Martin Luther King said, never let a person bring you so low as to hate them. I love everybody. I pray for everybody. I try to do the best that I can to serve. Service is the rent we pay for the space that we occupy. J Love, you know how you and I met.
Yes.
We met in my service to you, because I became your servant. And you was my slave master. Like anything, I answered a phone call for you morning, noon, and night.
He
because of your
did.
heart and your soul crying out for your child.
Yes.
There has been so many people we have been able to been a blessing to, and so I don't hear the noise. So they just need to just shut up. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't hear it, I don't see it, I don't recognize it. Because no weapon formed against me shall be able to prosper, and every tongue that rises against me in judgment shall be condemned.
I know
That is
that's right.
part of my heritage,
Right.
and so we turn to each other and not on each other, and we on a mission to be able to bring healing in our city and in our communities. So uh, I got thick skin. I was condemned to die in prison, served 29 years in prison, and anyone want to make mockery of that, shame on them. And it's a special place in hell for certain people who want to come against people who are being justice impacted, been beat with the whip of incarceration for 29 years. Mother died when I was in there. Both of my grandmothers died when I was in there. Couldn't go to their funeral. They don't know nothing happened in my situation. So I say, God bless you, and repent for those nasty ways
Absolutely.
and those nasty
Absolutely. And let me
words.
say this about this man too. I met Woods when I first got on the board of police commission. I'm sorry, when I first got on the board of police commissioners, and the job that he was doing over at Ryan was simply phenomenal. And from there, it's strange, sounds strange. I'm a police commissioner. I've never met this man, but that one time I became a fan of his. And I kept hearing of the amazing work that he was doing while he was inside. And so honored to serve with him in these efforts to make sure that citizens' voice are amplified. And Brother Kelly, I do remember you. I do remember the interview I did with you. And I'm grateful because God had placed me there for a specific reason. Because I knew going in there that there were some people who were being held back, and that should have been let go. As a matter of fact, T. Grizzly was one of my first persons that I paroled.
Okay.
I'm looking to see that brother again because he got to do a rap with my name in it. But I thank God because there are so many brothers and sisters that should have gone home by now that unfortunately are still behind those walls. And so, we still do the work. I still reach back and still make myself available anytime, Tom or Jessica calls me. I'm still there 100% of the time to do whatever they need to help out my brothers and my sisters that are still behind those walls.
Yeah, like our sister Crystal Denise Clark, who we're heavily advocating for, next week. It's the oversight hearing. And so she's one. And also, I just want to say also, even when I met Darryl, he really was instrumental with helping me navigate the things with my son and his conviction. And when he was, we sent all kind of letters to the parole board, and the parole board sent me an email and him an email thanking me for being the mother I am. Told him he has a wonderful mother, and that people. So many people were saying he had to do this, he had to do that before leaving. He didn't have to do any of that. They said, hey, they gave him a date to come home. He didn't have to talk to anybody. He came home.
Amen.
And so I know if it wasn't for, people like Darryl and others who were helping me through this whole entire process, who knows would have happened. So thank you, Darryl, and thank you, Chief Investigator Warfield, for joining us today. I kept you guys just a little bit longer than I was supposed to because Darryl was like, this should take 10 hours. But but I really appreciate you taking time out to come on. You gave me myself and Marcus a better perspective on how to feel about oversight in the commissioners and everything. So thank you so much for everything you do, and I appreciate you. And that's it for us.
Well, bless you. Thank you so very much. God bless you. And I wish you all the best in this platform. And even as it expands, that God brings more and more people here. And you always can call me if you know of anybody that is going through some difficult times with DPD. and we will definitely walk them through that process.
All right. We're going to remember that.
But no,
Daryl,
seriously.
no, I'll text him or call.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
And I'm gonna answer. I'm gonna answer.
Hey, I'm gonna take it
Janice,
easy.
J Love's name is Janice, and my mother's name was Janice,
And
and
that's my
so
sister's name.
hey, that's powerful.
And my
You know,
mother named James.
There you go.
wow.
wow. So, yes.
That is crazy.
That
Yes,
is. Wow. What a connection. So,
a
thank you,
divine
you guys.
connection.
Yeah. So you guys just stay into your audio finishes and then, you can leave out. But thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
God bless.
God bless you both. So, hey, Marcus, that was awesome.
What up, Dave?
That was
Hey,
awesome.
Janice.
Yeah.
I never knew that was your name. That's my mother's name.
Wow. Yes.
I think
Yes.
we got some pretty good nuggets. I think we got some pretty good nuggets out of seeing how the process with the board work. I think, like I mentioned, I think as a start, it was crazy just seeing the guy that paroled me. You know what I'm saying? That was crazy.
That
But
was awesome. Actually.
I think I just feel like I don't know. I got mixed feelings right now.
Really? So let's talk about accountability matters. And who do we need to hold accountable this week? What systems that we need to hold accountable this week, Marcus?
The systems like same as in prison. You know what I'm saying? Those stone walls. When we have system, it's almost like they always say that the master never give you the key to to tear down his home or to get you can't and I think when you're talking about these particular systems that we were just discussing earlier, the system of policing, including all the other tentacles of policing, when you're talking about the CPS, when you're talking about the processes of HUD, you know what I'm saying, and how before it even reaches your community, it gets sent to a housing board who hires an executive director who utilizes his position of power to harm that community, but is protected by elected officials because they are because he put money in their elections or whatnot. So now the people are being harmed, and then when they try to file that complaint and they follow that process, every spot they went to file a complaint at, they got to tie to this particular person at the Pontiac Housing Commission, and so they're protected all the way down to Washington. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you know what I mean? So and that's why I specifically asked them, how do you get around that stone wall when somebody do want to file a complaint and it gets to the wrong person? He knows the person or has some kind of ties. He's probably going to throw that away. You know what I'm saying? Because, we here together, like, so you my sister, and I'm like, I'm not going to let nobody fry you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, right. But to have that particular same kind of dynamic when you're talking about systems of injustice or incidents of injustice or community harm, it has to be a different system that's not rooted in I'm a police officer, so I bleed blue. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm a Pontiac Housing Commissioner, so I bleed them. Or I'm a Democrat, so I bleed blue. You know what I'm saying? Or red or Republicans. It has to be independent oversight. Mm-hmm. As long as oversight is woven into the injustice that's already happening, then you're never going to get justice. That's just a fact. And I think they understood that when I asked about the particular separations of power. How do you stop stonewalling? Because if all I need is a year to get around you for a complaint and go through, then goddamn it, help me get around this year. And I'm expecting you to help me get around that year. And then after that, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? I'm back to work. I'm getting paid. I'm fucking somebody else over.
Right. So I think they're trying to put in a process where they can kind of eliminate that or stonewalling. But I know it's going to be, that's a process. just like it kind of reminds me of what a conversation I had with Crystal about how, even with the grievance process inside there, when they file a grievance, let's say it's against an officer, uh, the other officer might tell that officer that you're filing a grievance against them. Now you're met with retaliation and all that stuff. So that system has to be independent, where there is um, people who are not for, they just seeing the problem. What is the problem and how can we solve it? So non-biased
Yeah.
a system in
This
place.
system that they talking about is the system
So,
they talking about is pretty is similar.
right.
You know what I'm saying? It's a similar system of what they're doing, because it's not separate. It's not a separate entity. Like when the Department of Corrections came up with this abundance, Keith Barber. Keith Barber was supposed to do. You just consider Keith Barber the right now as it stands, the board of police or DPD. Keith Barber is that for the Department of Corrections.
Mm-hmm.
So if we get into a space to where my sole interest is vested in protecting you from any kind of litigation, every grievance procedure we got, if they can leak out to Keith Barber, he's going to make sure he stonewall that too, so it don't go any further. Hey, I did investigations. This happened. That we didn't find anything. Yet you got multiple lawsuits that got settled out while you was in there for 30 years. So it's like you've never seen an issue with the Department of Corrections. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with the police force. Go ahead.
Well, in regards to Keith Barber, I think because you've been sitting in a position for 38 years, you get numb and you just there. You're not you're not really oversight. You just, holding on. So whenever I feel like I'm gonna retire, I could just take this great picture that goes somewhere and retire. I think it needs to be like with them, how they have different districts and different. It needs to be a board. It should just be one person in regards to what we're talking about MDOC. It needs to be more than one person. It needs to be like maybe a board with also community people on there with them, so you can have a clear conversation, so it's not already always led by an institutional type of mindset. It's also community focused. And I think with what they have is, even though it's still connected, they also have community, because each a lot of their commissioners come out of different neighborhoods, different districts of the city. Whereas you just got to keep Barber, and now you got to depend on him too. Are you going to fight, or are you going to just sit back? And so,
I mean, and you asked a good question. What about why? What about when we have to pay for officers who do wrongdoing, and they go out, shoot, kill somebody, beat somebody up, boom, we spend millions of dollars, but they still on the force. They just move them to another different spot. Move them to another district or whatever else. You never really lose a job. Yeah, we lose our taxpaying money that could be invested in our children. Our children literacy. We have the lowest literacy rates in the country, but we spend of millions of dollars, to a system that's a failing system.
right.
Police do not stop crime. And the way the system is in prison, the way that's it is, does not stop crime, and it's not restoring anyone. Police are not restoring the community. So
and then their union also is in the way, because the union protects their people, and so they're going to put policies and things in place to protect them. And so and also, and even on the flip end, there has to be a conversation where there's more community input when they negotiate contracts, that also looks out for the people.
I turn my camera off.
I see.
I'm moving around the house. Yeah, only because I'm moving around the house and I got weak Wi-Fi over here. But for the most part, when you filing a complaint, when we go, and I'm talking about MDLC now, and it's sad that we even got to get to this pace. When you file a complaint, you have to be strategic, because those systems that he said that they said they have, they're always going to find a loophole to get around that complaint. You know what I'm saying? There's always going to be somebody in there. Everybody's not stand up. What I used to have to do in prison is when I make my complaint, I go to the library and I will copy it. You know what I'm saying? I would copy it. I would submit one, but I send one home too. So one of the things that helped me settle in my lawsuit is they were saying that these complaints was never filed, but I had family outside that was sending it straight to Lansing too. So, like in one incident, one of the people called me out, and when I came out, she threatened me, like, what if I put a knife in your area of control? You file another complaint, I'll put a knife in your area of control, because she know that'll give me an extra 5 years in prison. So what I did is I filed a complaint about that. I copied the pass, and I wouldn't seen it because I knew she was going to lie and say that it never happened. I copied the pass, sent it home, and told them to send it to Lansing. And I filed a complaint. She said it never happened. We sent it to the courts, let them see it happen, and they came and tore my cell up to see if I had any other complaints in there. But in the end, it ended up prevailing. But the fact is, you suffer so much torture, you know what I'm saying, maybe even die, you know what I'm saying, just to get out that this is what's happening to me. Now, the way that affects our community in policing, there is no different. In prison is micro, in society is macro. So it's on a larger scale out here. If you file a complaint against an officer and you give it to the wrong officer and he gives it to that person, you're going to get harassed. You're going, you know what I'm saying? You're going to get, you know what I'm saying, charges pinned on you, beaten. See what happened to Tyree Nichols over a woman. You know what I'm saying? It's just, those things really happen. But, you know, they say you still got to go through the process. Even though they're slow to justice, they're quick to lock you up.
So, so I want to kind of shift. I want to tell people to subscribe if you care about justice reform and real accountability. Hit the subscribe button right now, because we are building something powerful here, turning the moment into a movement.
And we see you on the 24th at 9 a.m., right?
Yes, that's next.
Okay.
So I've got a flyer for that. So on the 24th, which is Tuesday, we are headed to Lansing for the oversight hearing regarding Huron Valley and Crystal Clark. It's at 9 a.m. It's inside the Capitol building, room 352. Join us there, hear testimony. And if you can't attend in person, you can watch it live on House TV, www.house.michigan.gov. This is some of the things that, if you can see that this is what's going to go down for the hearing. The purpose of the hearing will be reviewed. We'll review structure, environmental, and systemic concerns, including structural and environmental conditions, access to healthcare, retaliation, and misconduct. There's going to be some whistleblowers in attendance. And so this, why does this matter? Because Huron Valley has faced long-standing scrutiny related to healthcare access, environmental safety, transparency, and treatment of incarcerated women. So if you have a loved one in there, I advise you to attend. There is a way that you can voice your complaints by email. We'll have that on the Turning a Moment into a Movement page, so you can check that for that link for that. So if you are in the area or close by, please join us in Lansing on February 24th. This is long overdue. And also, And I don't know why. There it is. You can watch it on House TV. So join us there on Tuesday, 9 a.m. So that's it. We ask you to subscribe, so make sure you subscribe. And we have next week we're going to have 2 shows. We're going to have a special guest on Friday. And also we're going to come back on Saturday and have our wrongful conviction highlighted story. Trisha will be with us that week. And we're going to have some guests. And that's it for tonight. Is there anything else, Marcus?
Shout out to Janice J Love. I think it was a good show. I learned a lot. Everybody else probably learned a lot. We do know that it's a lot still that needs to be done. Again, taking slavery out of Michigan's Constitution. So, then check out the Change Up Midnight Coalition. Sign up and it's some educational pieces on there that you might learn about that process as well. It's always a pleasure to be here. And I'm tuned in. I'm definitely going to tune in when y'all talk, but I will see you in Lansing.
Yes, all of us will be there, I think. I know I'm going to be there. Trisha's going to be there. You're going to be there. Leslie, I think is going to be there. I don't know about Reverend Tia, but I'll find out. But yeah, we're going to be there. And a lot of people, we got students that's coming from U of M that's participating that's going to be there. So we're trying to fill that room up because we have to stand up. Our sister Ears is black now. She called me yesterday. Her head was hurting so bad. She's having nosebleeds and blood in places that blood shouldn't be. And so we just want to keep her uplifted in prayer and also be there to stand up for her and all the other women who are suffering. And also for the families of those who have lost a loved one. We want to be there for them as well. So Thank you, Marcus, and thank you guys, and we'll see you next week on Turning a Moment into a Movement. Good night.
Good night.
Just a light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. I'm gonna let it shine. Just a light of mine. Just a light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. I'm gonna let it shine. Oh Lord, just let it shine. This light of mine, this light of mine. Oh Lord, would you please just let it shine. Take the drama out of my life. Oh Lord, every night the pain ain't right. I wake up at night, I never sleep. 26, 10, and 7, that's just me. Every day I need a little seed. I need a little fresh air, man, I need to breathe. All I know is trauma, all I know is tickets. All I know is no visit. All I know is a mission to get straight up out of prison. Lord have mercy for me. Lord have mercy on my people. Preacher Mary Washington and all my real. Lord have mercy with my people. I pray to God, we really need you. When I was down bad, when things weren't going right, every time I prayed at night, I put my hands up in my face. I said, Lord have mercy, little light of mine. Lord God, please let it shine. It's the drama that I live in my life. I swear to God, I was a bad guy every night. 10 toes down, salute. Everybody suffering, everybody who trying to make a way. Everybody looking for the sky, everybody looking for that piece of pie. In a law library, I know what that feel like. Hoping that somebody get active and involved in your situation. Man, pop your collar and pray. Cause Lord have mercy on my soul. And they make bad guy father get out soon. And the rest of those brothers who be mobbing. to child each morning. Oh man, I ain't going to this afternoon. Man, I'ma miss dinner today. I got a cup of noodles. Hey, you know what that feel like? Yeah, you know what it is. And if you a victim of a wrongful conviction, suffered and served by Ken Worthy, then I know that you know what that pain feel like. And your mama know what that pain feel like. Your father know what that pain feel like. With that light, let that little shine. Let that light shine a little light of mine. Bad guy, Doughboy Week, all these great people in this great world of ours. 10 toes down, salute. I appreciate you, bad guy. I appreciate you, Week. I appreciate the tech. I appreciate everybody in the studio. We gonna pop off that LV. Ooh-wee. Cause that's what they be liking to see. But I hope you hear the miss and then you see me fresh. Salute.